too many women just accept that they once they reach menopause, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to lose muscle, I'm going to gain fat, it's not going to happen, so why bother? Why
Mm.
bother? And we are at such an amazing place in our life. We have all these experiences. We have more knowledge than obviously earlier in our life. We know what we want. We know what we don't want. We're a huge part of the population, and we should have an enormous voice. And what better way to have an enormous voice is to feel confident inside and out. We show up differently. So many of the women I work with, as you're getting fit and they're like, oh my God, I've got muscle back on. My belly fat is gone. I'm feeling stronger. And they start doing more in their life, right? They're showing up more. They're stepping out into the world with confidence. And I love the word empowerment. And I feel like through health and fitness, I am helping women over 50 empower themselves to show up, to be visible.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Daily Soul Bytes show. I am your host, Bola Abimbola, and this is the show where we interview guest authors, coaches, and entrepreneurs in the fields of spirituality, psychology, and leadership for their insights for the expansion of collective consciousness. And today I have a very special guest. Her name is Lisa Swanson. She's based in Massachusetts. And I'll read a bit about Lisa before we start because she is a very accomplished health and fitness professional. So, Lisa Swanson is a certified health coach and personal trainer, a certified nutrition coach, a certified specialist in female metabolism and hormones, 35 years experience in the health and fitness industry. And Lisa actually decided to open up her body and soul coaching, where she focuses solely on helping women in midlife reach their weight loss goals after taking a walk on her 50th birthday. And I'd love to hear a lot more about that. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you for having me here, Bola. I am so excited to be talking to you today.
You can't be more excited than me, Lisa. This is the type of show that I've been looking forward to. I mean, when we women get to that menopause stage, and we are now, in our mid 50s, and we're wanting to really develop much more of a deeper sustainability with our weight and our health and our fitness. You are the person that we look forward to talking to. So, yeah, welcome to the show. So, Lisa,
Thank
tell us, what is it that made you decide to focus on menopause for women in their 50s?
the very short answer is there was such a lack of information for women over 50. They would, go to trainers, they go to nutritionists, and even their doctors, and they didn't know what to do. I can remember being at a doctor's appointment, and I had been going through some stress, and my body composition was changing a little bit. And they just said, "Well, your weight is fine. You seem to be doing well." And I said, "Oh, I do want to lose, a little bit of weight." I said, "Not a lot of weight. I just want to change my composition, get some muscle back on." And my doctor said to me, "Well, that will never happen." I just said,
I
"Excuse me."
know.
Right. And this was a female doctor, but she was younger than me. And I said, "Well, excuse me? What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, that won't happen. You're older now and you just accept it." And I actually said to her, and I said, "Do you know what I do for a living?" I said, I help women over 50 lose weight and build muscle." And I said, "You really shouldn't say that to somebody, because we can." And I think this is a thing. Too many women just accept that they once they reach menopause, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to lose muscle, I'm going to gain fat, it's not going to happen, so why bother? Why
Mm.
bother? And we are at such an amazing place in our life. We have all these experiences. We have more knowledge than obviously earlier in our life. We know what we want. We know what we don't want. We're a huge part of the population, and we should have an enormous voice. And what better way to have an enormous voice is to feel confident inside and out. We show up differently. So many of the women I work with, as you're getting fit and they're like, oh my God, I've got muscle back on. My belly fat is gone. I'm feeling stronger. And they start doing more in their life, right? They're showing up more. They're stepping out into the world with confidence. And I love the word empowerment. And I feel like through health and fitness, I am helping women over 50 empower themselves to show up, to show up, to be visible.
Wow, I love that. This is the thing about conditioning, isn't it? The
Mm-hmm.
conditioning around us. And this is you going to a medical professional and you're being told, forget it, you're doomed, you know. And this is why we have to really be mindful of the conditioning that we're embodying around us. And I love the way that you heard that and you said, excuse me, not from where I'm coming from. I'm not going to hold that belief. So I love that. And this is very inspiring, very empowering to hear. And tell us a bit more about how you have found spirituality and how it has impacted on your work. Because we are spirit beings. It also depends on the beliefs that we hold, the beliefs and intentions that we hold. And this is why I think spirituality is important to impact on any particular area of industry we're working in, having our spirituality impact on whatever it is we're doing. I'd love
Yes.
to hear how spirituality is impacting on your work.
Oh my gosh, Bola, it's so powerful. I'll tell you where it started. I had before I went online, I had three studios. Right? I had three studios. I had 26 employees. I was working my tail off. Um, I wasn't really connected to the clients as well because I had all my trainers working with the clients. And
Mm,
just like that constant struggle for business, I was tired. I knew I didn't know, I knew I did not want to do that. I wanted to do something different. And somebody had said to me, well, just what's your intuition say? And I thought, what intuition? Like I was so disconnected. I said, I don't even know what I believe anymore. And I can't remember where I read it because I wish I could give somebody credit for it. Because I don't know where I read it. They said, okay, if you're trying to feel intuition, make a statement and saying, like, I want to stay with these three studios. Does that make you feel contracted or expanded? Or I want to go on my own. Does that make me feel expanded or contracted? It started with that small little statement, just feeling what's expansion, what's contraction. And I said, oh, when I said I want to do my studios, I felt this contraction and heaviness. And I said, okay, then my intuition's telling me get out of the studios. When I wanted to open my own business, like in where I wanted to go with it, I felt this expansion and lightness. And I systematically sold off my studios. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I said, this is what I'm supposed to do. And went into, so obviously I'm a risk taker, and went into the online space. Now, I didn't just hop into it and was successful right away. I made plenty of mistakes. But through this journey, I really learned how to listen to my intuition and then starting to connect to spirit. A day doesn't go by that I don't meditate, that I don't try to speak to my guides, that I use my oracle cards. I have crystals. I've got everything around me to try to create that energy. So I'm raising my vibration up because without doing that, I can't deliver what I need to the women I'm trying to serve. So I
mm.
think I answered your question.
Yes, you did, because these are the tools that we have around us. The tools that we have around us, the meditation, the crystals which ground us, the meditation which connects us to our higher self. This is the work that I do. My work is really about helping my clients to remember their true self and to have the spiritual practice to go deeper and deeper. So that higher self is driving more and more all the activity that the ego self has to connect with every day. Because even as spirit beings, we've still got all the many identities and tools and tactics. We've still got to pay the bills. We've got to do all kinds of things.
Yes.
And sometimes that is quite overwhelming. But it's
Yeah.
important to reconnect and never lose that connection to our true self. And this is what gives us our best outcomes, I truly believe. And I actually written a Daily Soul Bytes book about that to really help um, any reader who connects with it to reconnect to that higher self so it becomes more familiar. Those perspectives, the intuition is the higher self talking to us. Those perspectives become much more familiar. Intuition becomes much, much easier to listen to or to see or to taste. Sometimes we actually are spoken to through taste. Sometimes we're spoken through what we hear or what we know. And those kinds of things become much more intrinsic to us. So I always want to hear about that. how we are using our spirituality and our connection to spirit to really guide our day to day. And I wanted to know, Lisa, what are the tools that you use? What are the advice that you give? This is the real purpose of this show today. Um, Menopause. Why is menopause such a significant phase, a significant time for us women? And what is it that makes it much more difficult for us to lose weight at this time and to stay healthy, to love our body? This is about loving our bodies even more.
Oh, so I love that you said to love our body. So one thing I like to teach my clients is I mean, there's so much to it to unwrap with this question, but one thing is I think we need to learn how to love ourselves and love our bodies as we are right now before even reaching your goal. It doesn't mean give up on your goal. You can still have that goal and say, yeah, I want to put muscle on, I want to lose weight, have that goal, but you still need to learn to love yourself before you begin that journey, because you're not going to be somebody different when you gain muscle. You're not somebody different when you lose the weight. You're still you. So you need to learn to love yourself exactly as you are, right? I mean, take away the physical self, right? Take out spirituality, take away who we are. That has nothing to do with our physical self, but a lot of times we want to feel more comfortable in who we are, and we want to be healthy and live a long vibrant life and be
Yeah.
able to go hiking and do all the things. So yes, you want to work on those things, but first and foremost, you do need to learn to love yourself. You can't be hating on yourself and be putting yourself down and thinking, I'm not worthy, I can't do this, or you won't get there, because you will self-sabotage, because we can't work past what's going on in our minds. We have to connect with that first. That's why I always say I teach the mindset part, the nutrition, and the fitness. Now the nutrition, once you get that part going, then you have to learn, okay, what's my metabolism looking for? I think a lot of women struggle with weight loss when you get to menopause, because they're looking for diets, number one, which they don't work. They're temporary fixes. They're usually looking for, either very low calorie or omitting a food group or something like that. And it doesn't teach you what's right for your body. So people come to me and say, well, Lisa, what do you eat? And I say, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I eat. And you probably don't want to eat like me anyways. I'm vegan. I'm a very boring eater. You don't want to do that. It depends on what that person wants. So when somebody comes to me, the first thing we do is figure out, okay, where's their starting point? Where are they at? And I don't tell them what to do the whole first week. It's like, just show me what you're eating. I have them recording their food and I'm learning about them, their metabolism. And I can say, oh, okay. So Bola is eating this, but she feels like that. She's missing these nutrients. She's missing not enough protein, or shouldn't have enough carbs, or she's over exercising. There's too much stress. She needs to meditate. So we're bringing all of that together, because our metabolism is like this big stress barometer. And this is what people don't get. They think their metabolism is a calculator. Calories in, calories out. And it's not. It's constantly measuring where are the stresses. Is this stress coming from work? Is it coming from your life? Is it coming from not eating properly? Is it coming from over exercising or not sleeping? And that's what we want to bring into balance. And when you bring that into balance for you, your unique body and soul, that's when you start losing weight. And
Mm.
that's the part that people are missing. Where's that unique starting point for you?
That's so interesting, Lisa, because that's the knowledge, that's the information that
Mhm.
that first week will give.
Yeah.
That first week will provide a lot of information. And then there's I don't want to call it discipline, but there is an element of caution, an element of um, being more mindful on that day to day, forming the new habits.
Yes.
Forming the new habit, because that's the tough part. That's why diets don't work, I think, because
Yeah.
they never really interrupt the system. Because before you can have a new way, you've got to interrupt the current system.
Mhm.
And so, what do you think makes it much more difficult to interrupt the system when you're in menopause? Why is menopause so different for women? Or
Well,
is it? Or is it a mindset thing?
I think it's more a mindset thing, or just it's a
Hmm.
lack of knowledge. I'm going to put it that way. It's a lack of knowledge, because I think what we do when we get here, because a lot of women, they first come to me, say, "But I'm doing everything right." But they don't know that. It's like, no, if you were doing everything right, you would be losing weight. But we think what we did in our 20s and our 30s and even our 40s we were going back to that because that's our experience. It's like, wow, when I used to exercise every day and I cut down my calories, I lost weight. And it's like, well, no, it's different now. Now you're in menopause. You don't have the estrogen and progesterone that you used to have that protected you from stress. You see, estrogen and progesterone protected us from cortisol, right? When cortisol raises up,
Mm.
that's our stress hormone, right? If without the estrogen, it's putting body fat on us. It's putting such that belly fat, right? So we don't have that protection anymore. So we're much more susceptible to stresses. So we can't
Mm.
exercise like we used to. So actually, this is a good thing. We actually have to exercise less. Exercising more causes too much stress. So we have to exercise less and give our body recovery and rest and sleep. It's very restorative at this point. And I'll take exercise away from clients, not completely. I give it to them in the right amount. And they're like, oh my gosh, my I can zip my jeans up. I can fit. I'm feeling better. The bloat is gone. It's like, exactly. I'm not getting hot flashes anymore. It's like, because we balanced your nutrition. So that balance, the balance of stresses, because we can't get rid of stresses, right? Stress, that's part of life. We can't completely get rid of it. You can't get rid of all exercises. Exercise is stress, but we need that stress to elicit change in our muscles. But it needs to be the right amount of stress and the
Mm.
right amount of restoration so that you can then do that. And I think that's the biggest struggle that women have. They don't understand that part, that balance part that they have to have.
Mm. Mm. I love the word restorative because the body calls out to it. When you live intuitively, you get that sense the body's calling out for more rest.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the way that it becomes lethargic, but in a way that allows the body to catch up with
Mm-hmm.
all the demands that are out there. Um, and I would love to know a bit more about that restorative. What would you consider to be a really good restorative day, for instance?
Okay, so it depends on the person. That's a typical
Hmm.
coach's answer, right? Well, it depends.
Or maybe the probabilities or the examples of
Right.
what could be a good restorative, a good day. Yes.
Good day. So let's just say now, I'm going to give you some examples. So, say I have
Yes.
a client, or there's a woman, she's in her 50s, she's trying to lose weight and she can't do that. She's a CEO and she's got all of this work and all of this stress, um, and she's trying to get her cardio in, and this is just causing more stress. So, for that woman, I'm going to say, get up and meditate, start your day off grounding yourself. At lunchtime, go for a walk. Don't try to exercise, just go for a nice relaxing walk. And this is going to help to lower cortisol levels because she's been in meetings all day or all morning, right? We want to lower those cortisol levels down. Just go for a nice relaxing walk that will get your metabolism going because you're moving without raising the cortisol.
Mm.
Something like that. For her in the afternoon, it might be like, you know what, close your office doors and take another 5 minutes to just breathe, or call a girlfriend, or do something that's relaxing and makes you happy. When you get home at night, have a relaxing dinner, and maybe then you work out if that's what moves you, right? If they haven't worked out, that's the time to exercise. Go ahead and get that exercise and work hard, but short. So,
Mm.
right. So work hard, get in. I always say, get in there, work hard, and get out. Keep it short, right? Because we don't want to raise the cortisol levels for too long. So they get in there, they work with weights, they work hard, and then maybe they have a nice, relaxing yoga or just stretching for 15 minutes at the end before they relax for the evening.
Mm.
Now, I could have another woman who is not in a high pressure job. Maybe she's already retired, or she loves her job and it's very relaxing. She's not a lot of stress. For her, it might be, hey, go for a hike in the morning, go for a nice cardio workout after breakfast. And because that might be stress relieving for her, right? To do that, but you're just going to keep it shorter. But they're getting that exercise in, they're going for a hike, and they're being much more active because we don't have to actively reduce their cortisol because their life is so stressful.
Mm.
And then for them, but of course, it's going to be relaxing afterwards. So you see how two different things can be different for different people.
Mm.
Well, the same thing can
Mm.
be different for different people because one person you got to bring the cortisol down, the other one not so much. You don't have to worry about it as much because they're not already up here. Right, the
Mm.
stress is already up here. We've got to do things to bring it down.
Mm.
um, And within all of that, then you have to make sure that their nutrition is matched up with that, because you talk about restoration. What else? We have to nurture ourselves. We've been using up all of this energy. We want to restore that energy through the food that we eat. So we want to make sure that that food is balanced. And again, that's going to be a little bit different. I wish I could say, hey, if everybody had this much protein, this many carbs, and this many fats, you're going to do great.
Very individual. Yeah.
They're very, very individual. It depends on your cortisol levels, on your sleep. It depends on your microbiome. What's your gut health like? All of these things come into play. So it's learning that balance that's, I think, goes along with restoration.
I love that. And I'm hearing relaxation, reducing cortisol levels, movement, and doing it all in a way that matches your own individual unique frequency, which
Yes.
is why, working with someone like you would be really, really relevant. How do you work with your clients? You already mentioned something around you'll give them 1 week to just discover what their habits already are. And I know you have something called a BASE method, BASE model,
On my base model, that's
but
my,
BASE model.
yeah. So base is the way I design my programs. They have to follow my rules of my base model. It means it needs to be balanced. And by balance, it means your energy in and energy out. We're balancing your nutrition in a way that works for you, balancing your workouts, balancing the restoration, just finding that balance that I've really been talking about this whole time. The
Mm,
A out of base is for adaptable. Anything I create, I know needs to be adaptable to each individual, because
mm,
we're all so different. Yeah, because I teach group coaching. I used to do one-on-one, and I've moved over to group because I love the power of a group. When you're bringing these women together and they all start talking about this, they end up helping each other through the program as well. And so the adaptability is, I can't just have workouts and just say, here, everybody, here's a workout program for you. Everybody do this, or here's your nutrition. I have guidelines, but then everybody gets a weekly check-in. Every single week they get personalized check-in through a form that they fill out, that myself or one of my coaches reviews and says, okay, Bola's doing well. Oh, but her hunger has increased and she's getting cravings at night. What do we need to adjust? Because that's a sign that's telling us something is off and we need to adjust it. So imagine every client gets that adjustment so that we can move that needle forward every single week of the program. And the same with their workouts. They get their workouts, and every 4 weeks, I have a periodization program. Every 4 weeks, they're getting a workout. But when they get the workout, they'll be messaging me and say, okay, Lisa, I got my workouts. I can't do these 3 exercises because this one hurts my shoulder and this one hurts my knee, or I don't have that piece of equipment. And so we adapt it to each individual. So everybody's getting something that's going to be for them
mm,
throughout the
mm,
program. And
mm,
that's how you keep moving the needle forward. This is how you take these steps, and it's constantly tracking, analyzing, and adapting is what you
mm,
need to do. And throughout
mm,
that process, while we're doing that, we're teaching the client. So say you're my client, and I'm going to say, I'm going to change this, Bola, because, and this is how we're going to change it. This is why it's going to work for you. So you're getting this knowledge throughout the program about your own body. So I love when I talk to a client a year after they've been with me. I call them up or send them a message and say, hey, how you doing? They say, great. You taught me what to do. I know how to listen to my body. I know when
yeah,
to make changes. That's the most important thing. I love to
yeah,
teach.
yeah.
So they
So
come away
true.
from saying, I learned more in your program than in anything else I've ever done, because I teach people how to be their own nutritionist.
Yeah, this is so key. You empower them. You
Yes,
connect them to their empowered being, because we
yes.
are empowered beings. And when we have the information that we need and we know how to use it, we can get on with what we need to do. And even though there are always ups and downs,
Always,
but
always.
still we have the tools to take us through those ups and downs. And we
Mm-hmm.
don't have so many, we don't stay in the down for too long when we know what to do. Because life, it's a journey. It's a journey. There will be temptation along the way. We'll always have to deepen our habits, form new habits, and deepen those habits with compassion, with love
Right.
and compassion, I say. How did you get to this place, Lisa? Before you turned 50, were you a size zero or something? How did you get to this place?
Um, I was always pretty fit. Actually, and when I was late 40s, I competed in a fitness competition, won the masters competition. Didn't even realize I was in perimenopause while I was doing this. And I think I got myself down to like 9% body fat and really, jacked up with muscles. Um, but it was through that time when I was like, when I first started trying to figure out where I wanted to connect, like what was my intuition? What do I believe? And I started asking myself these questions. And that led into, and as I was doing that, and I realized how important energy was. For example, in one of my studios, I had sold all of my studios off. I was down to my last studio. And the group of trainers that I had was not the best group of trainers. They weren't compassionate enough. They didn't quite get coaching. They knew how to train. They didn't get coaching. I remember thinking, this isn't right for me. And I started changing things around. And I actually lost my staff. Now, this is a very small studio. So we're talking like a staff of like 4. I lost my whole staff. They were very upset with what I was doing, right? Because people push back when you start to make change. They did not like
Mm,
it. And thank goodness I learned how to connect my intuition. I was already learning how to listen to spirit and listen to my guides. And it was just like, this is all supposed to happen. There's a
mm,
reason for this. It's
mm,
just like, yeah, this is okay. I'm not going to be upset. And out of the blue, in walks his trainer and said, are you looking for any help? Right out of the blue, Bola. It was great. And it's like, yeah, I am actually. I talked to him a little bit and I hired him. He ended up being like my best trainer ever. He was phenomenal. And then without even advertising, I had like my biggest sales month. It was like people were just coming in. I even had a woman come in and she just said, oh my goodness. She goes, this place is vibrating with energy. I was like, okay, I know I'm on the right path here.
mm,
And then it was on my 50th birthday that I took that walk. So this is a few months later. And I took my walk and I was trying to decide what to do. And I was thinking about, I didn't know at the point who I wanted to serve. It's like, do I want to serve professional women? I knew I wanted to work with women, although I work very well with men too. So, but I was just like on this walk and I was thinking about things, and it just became so clear to me that I need to work with women because women don't have the voice that they need to have, and the information out there isn't for them, and they need to learn how to be themselves and like themselves. And I was even asking myself, I'm like, well, who am I? Right? If I take away being a wife and a mother and a trainer, a coach, when I take all away, who am I? And it was like, I'm just me.
mm,
And it just kind of got silent. Just, I'm just me and I'm okay, like who I am. And at that moment, I don't know if you look into animals, spirits, and things like that. A hawk flew right past in front of me, which a hawk is a very spiritual symbol. And I
mm.
was like, oh my goodness, this is what I'm supposed to do. I am meant to work with women and help them with this confidence. It just all just like boom, light bulb. This is what it is. And then I started in on, and then shortly after that, I came up with the body and soul because I go, it's not just the body, it's not the body. So that's what came up with the body and soul coaching and how I came to this.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
very
so,
spiritual. Yeah,
yes, that is so beautiful. And I think when we connect with the spiritual part, with the spiritual being that we are, life changes and there's no going back. There's no going back. We do not forget that true self that we truly are. There's still some integration to be done. There's still some understanding of that self and how that self integrates with the ego, with all the ego identities, and how the ego can learn to surrender even more to that spirit being, because it's a relationship that is eternal. It goes
mm-hmm.
on for many, many lifetimes. And I have come to understand that it's a journey. It's not a one-time thing. We connect at 40, at 50, at 60, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's through the daily practice,
Mm-hmm.
understanding the daily. And I love how you went on the walk and you were looking at the ego identities and which is this really me? And then you felt, no, this is that true being that's within you. You connected to it. And then the universe responded with the orc, and telling you, yes, you are on the right track. And that
Right,
synchronicity. And you
right.
don't need adverts, you don't need it, just happens. It's like resonance. There's the frequent, we're talking about this before we started today.
Right.
The frequency that we carry resonates with others, and that's what attracts them to us as
Mm-hmm.
business owners, as entrepreneurs. So
Right.
it's quite a different way of working compared to when you were working with that ego with all your control. You're trying to control everything. You're trying to control.
It doesn't work. And I know people will call me a
Exhausted.
control freak. It doesn't work. It's like you have to learn to let go. For me, it's
Yes.
an ongoing lesson. Because even like what I've been through with my spiritual growth, I mean, I even had a spiritual mentor that I work with every single month for like, it was about 8 months that we were together. I learned so much and I grew so much there. There are still times that I get disconnected and it'll be like, oh, I haven't been meditating. I haven't been connecting. I haven't been, it's like I haven't slowed down. And you can feel it just like, when you feel really connected, it's like you almost feel like you're never alone. You feel like my guides are all around me. I'm
Yeah.
not alone. I can,
Light. You feel
that's,
light. Yeah.
yes, you feel that. But then,
Yes.
like with everything, even weight loss journey, spiritual journey, with everything, it's just up and down, right? And so you come down, it's just like, oh, I'm not feeling so good. I'm feeling disconnected. What's going on? And you have to like get back into it again. And that's okay. I think lapses that, like you said, we can't get rid of our ego self. We're human, right? We
Yes.
have human thoughts, and lapses are okay. What I always try to tell my clients, just don't let the lapses become a relapse back to where you were. It's okay, recognize it, be aware, and okay, let me get back on track. That's okay. Ups and downs are okay.
Yes. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Wow. Thank you, Lisa. Where can people find you when they want to connect with you?
Well, there's my website, bodyandsoulcoaching.com. If you want to connect with me on Instagram, I'm Lisa Swanson Fit. And I think it's Lisa Swanson Coach on Facebook.
Mhm. That's beautiful. I love that because we've got to be okay with asking for help when we need it. We can do some things on
Absolutely.
our own, but it's got to be okay. There's nothing disempowering. It's about really using the resources that have been made available to us
Mhm.
by through the love that unconditional self has for us. Those opportunities are there, and we can see once I see an opportunity, I don't let it go. There's a reason why I perceived it. There's a reason why it's there, and I connect. And we've got to be okay with asking for them. Is there anything else you want to say today before we go?
Not that I can think of. Well, you had talked about steps. I don't know if you wanted to go into that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
If you want, I can go into that now. There are
yes,
five big
please.
steps that I think that everybody needs to go through
Mm,
with this journey. And like we've talked about each of them, actually, we've connected on each of them throughout of this. And the first one was determine your unique starting point. Like with my clients, the first thing you have to do is gather the information. What's going on now? Don't just jump into something. Where are you at now? Because if you don't know where you're at, I don't care what map you get, you're not going to get anywhere, right? You need to
mm,
figure out where you're at now. Where is your metabolism at? Where's your energy at? Where are you at so that you can begin? Next is to define your goals. So you know where you're at, where do I want to get to? What does that look like? What does it feel like? I want people to taste it. I want them to know exactly what they are going for. What's that inspiration? Because without a clear destination, the journey is really going to be difficult to get to. Have a clear destination to where you want to get to. And the third is banish those limiting beliefs. Get rid of what's the head trash that we have going on. Get rid of those limiting beliefs that of not worthiness, of not being able to accomplish things, of whatever it is, or your belief that I'm, for people coming in, they have this belief they connect to, I'm overweight. That's just who
mm,
I am. It's like, no, that's a limiting belief you have, you need to let go of. So you get rid of those limiting beliefs, because those limiting beliefs will constantly put rocks right in your path, right? So we want to get rid of the roadblocks so you can move forward. And then, like you had mentioned earlier about habits, harness the power of those habits, because that's the difference between a diet and a lifestyle. If you can just get those habits in, but just make sure you're not going too big, take small steps, and that's how you create a habit. And the final part is, like you said, we don't do this alone. The fifth part of it, invest in a coach. Get a coach. You need support along this journey. Like I believe in coaches so much. I've had so many coaches. When I competed, I had a nutrition coach. I have a business coach. I have a business consultant. I have a spiritual mentor. when you have a coach and somebody there to be with you, that's not a family member, because that's
Mm,
difficult. I think a family member
it
is difficult
is. It
because,
complicates things.
yes, doesn't it? So a coach can step back and can look at things, see things that you're not seeing, and helps to shorten that learning curve and shorten that journey, because they're going to be there to support you, guide you, and be honest with you. And as long as you're honest and communicate with your coach, you're going to get to your goal, because I believe that true permanent successful weight loss and in health does not happen alone. You need somebody there in your corner.
Oh, yeah. Because those beliefs are powerful. Those
They,
negative beliefs will perpetuate themselves. They fight against being released.
yes.
So when we are trying to let them go, they will create circumstances around us that keep them there, that will keep the beliefs are very powerful life force. And really, this is how the Earth plane has been set up. The matrix has been set up to keep those negative beliefs in place. So when we want to get rid of them, doing it alone is a struggle. And
It,
so getting the help we need, we all need coaches in different areas. We may need a different set of coaches when we're 20 compared to when we're 50 to when we're 60. And it's about knowing that we can ask for help. So I love that. I love those steps. Um, well, I think we've covered this really nicely, Lisa.
it's been a pleasure talking with you.
And same here. Thank you for joining me, Lisa. And before we go, I do want to mention my book. This is the Daily Soul Bites book, and it's now available anywhere books are sold. And it's really about 31 nuggets that I share on higher perspectives on different topics that really allow us to understand our own perspectives, our own lower density perspectives, and the higher perspectives as well, because we hold both. And life is about integrating that polarity that's there within us and stepping forward, aligning with is resonating with love. And love doesn't have to be a dirty word. Love can be a word that we really resonate with in every area of our lives. And that's what Daily Soul Bite is about. So I invite you to grab a copy and also subscribe to this show, to the Daily Soul Bite show. There are always new episodes released every Wednesday. And I look forward to seeing you all again, my audience. And I want to thank Lisa again for joining me today. Thank you, Lisa.
Oh,
And
thank you. Thank you very much.
thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing everyone again next week. Take very good care. Bye bye.